Fine on the Inside was curated to switch the narrative, to show that it's never too late to shift your mindset, heal your heart, and live the life that you truly desire. Sis, you are magic. You just haven't discovered it yet. But in order to get to the goal, you have to do a little bit of digging, getting through all the hard stuff to allow your true self to shine. Because yes, you are beautiful. But how is your soul really feeling? Are you fine on the inside? Hey y'all, welcome back to Fine on the Inside. This your girl Jazz, and I am here with rapper, artist, Mack Simmy. Thank you for coming.
Yes, thank you for having me. I'm
No,
excited to be here.
no problem. So y'all, we're gonna be just talking about a bunch of stuff today. You know, this is Fine on the Inside, so make sure y'all like, share, and subscribe. We're gonna get into like a lot of deep topics today, so it's gonna be lit. You ready?
Yes, definitely, definitely.
So usually, how I start off the podcast, we just have like a few little icebreakers I'm gonna ask you, and then we just gonna go into the conversation.
Okay.
All right. So the first one is outside of music, what are some hobbies or interests that help you stay grounded and recharge?
Um, First and foremost, just spending time with my children. I kind of been like, not even kind of like, definitely just been like getting more into like my faith lately. So
Mm-hmm.
just whether that's just reading the word, just trying to kind of implement those things into my life. And spending time with friends and family. I always feel like that keeps me grounded. And I feel like when it comes to those different things, like if I'm not like on point with something, or if it's like an off week and I ain't really spend enough time doing this and that, it's hard for me to like kind of stay creative or
Yeah.
move forward with my work. I might even start procrastinating and stuff like that. So I know that might not be hobbies to everybody else, but to
Right. But
me,
no, I feel like it's
I,
kind of
like
like
to
your
keep things
routine.
yeah,
You know what I
exactly,
mean?
my
Yeah.
routine, keep things simple.
Yeah, I feel like that's important. One thing you said, like getting like your faith, I feel like
Mm-hmm.
that's really important in life. I feel like as we get older, like the more stuff you go through, like when we younger, we see like
Right.
the people in church or the people always talk about God. We're like, dang, why they always talk about God? But then
Mm-hmm.
you go through stuff,
Right.
and then you be
you,
like,
you start to learn
okay,
why God is good. You know what I mean?
I see. Okay, I see what he did for y'all,
Yeah.
and
When
now
I,
I see what he did for me. So
for
it's
sure.
like,
When
yeah,
I was younger, like what my mom used to drive me to church every Sunday, and I feel like me and my brother, like we grew a hate for that just because like we felt like we was forced to do something.
yeah,
So yeah, I spent a lot of years like away from church, and when you just start going through, like you said, all of this stuff, and you
mm-hmm.
get to a point in life where you just like only God could like make those things possible that He's made
Facts,
possible.
yeah,
And I also seen something too where it's like they be saying like our generation like we kind of all swayed away from church, but I
mm-hmm.
am definitely seeing a lot of people like kind of getting back into it, and
Yeah.
it's like, yo, this is what's up, you know what I
Yeah, I
mean?
feel like me personally, like right now, I'm not in church,
Hmm.
but like I feel like my faith in God is like stronger right now
Right.
that it has ever been.
Mhm.
And I feel like, maybe I just didn't find, well, yeah, I'm just not there
Yeah,
yet.
and to me, I don't
But
think it's necessarily the like church, like going to church,
yeah,
but what you're saying is definitely that's what it is, like the
yeah.
faith, like just having that faith and
Mhm.
whatever that is to you, as long as you kind of tapping into
Right.
something,
Yeah,
you know
you
what I mean?
gotta tap in. I feel like so many people like we think like we know all the answers, and then we realize we don't, and then it's like, all right, God, I actually really need
Yeah,
you.
I hear
I
you.
do. All right. So, what is one of the best pieces of advice that you ever got?
Um, the best piece of advice I probably ever really got was like, in a, how do I put it? Like when I was younger and I was in like a stage and phase of my life, I was up a place called Glen Mills,
Mm-hmm.
and I was there for like 14 months or something like that. And I remember like it was like 60 dudes. We all sitting down and like they told us like out of 60 of y'all, 50% of y'all gonna die. The other half
Mm-hmm.
gonna go to jail. And I felt the way about that because I'm
Yeah.
like, bruh, like
What you
I'm
talking
not
about, right?
doing either. You get what I'm saying? And they was, I guess, saying it by like a certain age, by 25 or something like that. So I feel like to me personally, like that was something that like motivated me to kind of like change my life and change,
Mm-hmm.
just the stuff I was getting into, the people I was hanging out with at the time. I mean, of course, I still lived my life and still
Yeah.
did a bunch of stupid stuff after that fact, but not. I ain't die or go to jail. You know what I'm saying? So that
Yeah.
was like a big like piece of advice that you know,
Yeah, it was
I
like
said was
something that
important.
always was like in the back of your mind. Like, all right, I might
Always,
do a little bit of drawing shit,
for
but like,
sure.
let me not go too far because
Exactly though. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
yeah, it definitely opened my eyes because I feel like the path I was going down and just some of those 60 dudes I'm talking about. If I think of a lot of them, they kind of went to those demises. So
yeah,
it's kind of sad, but it's like I'm one of the people that actually listen to that advice. You know
yeah,
what I'm saying? I don't even know if that's advice, but that was advice to me. You know what I'm saying? Because
right.
I don't like being doubted. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like I gotta prove you wrong.
Exactly.
No, yeah, I like that. Okay, so I was listening to your freestyle. You're a rapper, artist, and your music is fire. Number
I
one,
appreciate it.
but your freestyle like really hit me because you was talking about like growing up and how you like came from poverty and there was like little things like you mentioned like one of the things you said like you all couldn't really like do sports
Yeah.
because like they was worried about the price like that's
Yeah.
something like that I like experienced too, you know what I mean? But just like stuff in general, like being in the system, and then coming from like those like toxic family backgrounds. So
Right.
I wanted to talk about that because I feel like that really affects people's mental health and their state of being overall. You know what I mean? Like as we're growing up, when you see stuff like that, I feel like it's so easy for you to stay like we are our environment. So if you grow up always seeing that lack or you always grow up seeing, people just doing the bare minimum, it's easy to stay there. But you're doing like a lot for yourself. You're healing and you're taking the steps, to give your kids and, you know, switch that dynamic. So I just wanted to talk about that. How do you feel like was there something that just kind of like clicked to you that it was like I don't want this for me? You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, for certain, like how I put it, like I'm the oldest of all my mom's kids. My mom got 5 kids, 6 kids, and I'm the oldest. So I feel like there was a lot of stuff like I had to like endure with my mom, of course, because she
Mm-hmm.
was growing up. She had us young. She had us back to back, stuff like that. So in a way, it's like I would have thought I would have learned maybe that lesson, like all right, don't have so many kids and stuff like that. But I didn't learn that lesson. But what I did learn was it's like the lack of love or the lack of like all right, anytime I'm telling my kids to do something,
Mm-hmm.
like if they're really not getting it, like I'm going to explain to you why it's important that you take care of what I'm trying to
Right.
I want you to take care of, because me personally I feel like I didn't get that. It
Yeah.
was just like do this, and if you don't
Cause
do
I
this
said
exactly
right.
there's a
Yeah.
consequence, discipline to it or whatever, and I didn't really understand that. So I feel like yeah, that was like part of that was just one of many things where it's like yeah, I don't want that for myself. I don't want my kids to feel like you know any type of way besides just feeling the love for me as their father and that I got their back, and you know what I mean. But it's deeper than that, of course, too.
Yeah.
But
I feel like with kids, something like I feel like my kids they kind of like take it to their advantage because sometimes I over explain stuff or
yeah,
I give too many chances because like me personally, like my mom, she was kind of like I would say like verbally abusive in some
mm-hmm.
ways. Like some of the shit she would say to us is like, why are you saying this to us?
No,
You know
for
what I
sure, I
mean?
went through the same
But like
thing.
so now like when I speak to my kids, like sometimes I do yell and I'll curse sometimes, but it's like I will tell them like, listen, I don't want to be yelling at you, or I don't want to have to keep saying this 100
Right,
times. You know what I mean?
right.
This is why I'm telling you this, or that. Or then it's like, but now I'm giving you too many chances, and
I
now
feel
y'all
you.
taking advantage. Like, you know what I
I do
mean?
the same thing. I give a lot of chances, but I also yell too, like
Right.
because it get to that point, and I feel like kids, man, they just don't listen. So
Yeah.
you gotta repeat yourself. I don't like repeating myself a million
Right.
times over the same stuff. But
It's tough. I feel like when you're trying to set like that new dynamic for the
hmm
kids, it's
yeah.
like, damn, all right,
They be
like.
like soft parenting and stuff. Like I'm like, I'm 90% soft, but
Right.
you know that little other 10%. Nah, you gotta be a little hard on the
Yeah.
kids. You know what I mean? Because you gotta understand my kids know when they come to my house, it's a routine, it's a structure. This ain't what you doing at your mom's house and all
No,
that. You know what I mean?
that's
This is a
crazy because I feel like that's how it is with my kids and they dad. Like
okay.
he got them like on their schedule and everything, but
Mm-hmm.
when they come to my house, they like, all right, yeah, we're
They can
gonna
relax
try.
and probably feel
Yeah, I'm
like a
like, all
free
right, they
fall.
pushing it. Right? I think that might just be like a male thing. Like
It
the
is.
kids
I feel
just
like
know, like, all right, dad's not playing
for
around.
sure.
Like, my
And I
mom,
feel
we
like
go and
kids
test
don't wanna.
it.
They don't wanna make dad mad either. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
'Cause
Facts.
ain't no telling what's the consequence.
Right. So, how are some ways like you have healed, or how are some ways like you've gotten over like growing up, like from, um, just that type of background?
I feel like first thing is just like accepting like my family dynamic,
Mhm.
and I've went a lot of years like even when I talked about the Glen Mills thing, right? Like there's 700 kids up there.
Mhm.
I'm like one of the only kids that was up there that had no charges, no. I literally was there because I didn't have a home to go to,
Mhm.
and kids there didn't even understand that. But
Yeah.
I'm also like not a foster kid, and I'm not.
Right.
You know, I was 17, and my mom had like lost custody of me and my siblings when I was 16. So I just feel like that was like the hardest thing I've ever went through in my life. You know what
Mhm.
I'm saying? And just feeling them emotions at the time and just going through what I went through. So I spent a lot of years of my life blaming my mom and my dad for everything.
Yeah.
So once I got to a point in life where it's like, so like one time just going back and forth with my mom and for years I was just kind of just having like jabbing matches at each other, just arguing, whatever. And it's like even being disrespectful, you know what I mean? And it's like one time I talked to her sister, it was my aunt, and she basically she told me, she was like, yo, like Jamil, like you only got one mom, like,
Mhm.
and you need to accept her for who she is. Like
Yeah.
you can't keep like thinking that, y'all having like these whatever back and forths that you're going to change her as her son.
Right.
She didn't
Yeah.
say it like that, but that's what I got from it. And from that moment forward, I feel like I began to just accept my mother for who she is, my father for who she
Mhm.
is, even my own siblings, like just accepting people for who they are.
Yeah.
And I feel like that was the first step of me like healing from
Mhm.
that situation. And in ways and days, I still feel like I'm healing from that type of, just my
Yeah.
upbringing and stuff. But for the most part, though, like, I, yeah, it was just accepting people for who they are. Can't change people, and
Mhm.
also understanding like stuff be generational. You know
Yep.
what I mean? Like
Mhm.
it's not just me and my siblings that went through this
Yeah,
stuff. You know
she
what I'm
probably went
saying?
through
And
shit
yeah, my
too.
mom went
Yeah.
through stuff, and her mom went through stuff, and
Mhm.
we don't know about the people before that because we wasn't
Right.
alive to meet them. So, but yeah, just understanding that too. I feel like that's like the number two. That was like step two. Is just knowing it's like generational, and it sucks that my family had to go through what we had to go through, but it just that's like my why every day of me trying to
Mhm.
change my dynamic with me and my kids. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Because you know,
Yeah, I feel like that's something that helped me, like with my mom and my dad, like taking away the title of mom and dad and just seeing them as like people
right?
and understanding like we only can do what we know at the time. So you
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? Like now that I see how easy it is to get like sucked into the world, like how easy it is to get like stuck on drugs or alcohol,
Right.
or when they're young, you know what I mean, when they had us. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like now I look at 18-year-olds, 21-year-olds as like kids.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like to think that people have kids at the age is like we don't even know how to almost
Mm-hmm.
take proper care of ourselves, like that we have kids. And it's just like, so when I think of it that way,
Yeah.
like damn, like y'all was just really people. and,
Exactly.
and it's like, but it's easy for us to play the blame game, like, oh, I'm this way because my mom did this or my
Right.
dad did this. But it's like you can't really get over that. You can't heal that until, like you said, you accept that.
Mm-hmm.
And you take accountability. Like, yeah, you can't change what they did to you. You can't change like how you grew up, but you can change like what you do now.
For
Like
sure.
you said, like you're setting a better tone for your kids.
Mm-hmm.
That's all we can really do. So
That's all we
yeah.
can do, and it's like I said, some days, it's rougher than others, but for the most part, like I just try to like like it's like I'm now I'm proud of what
Mhm.
I've been through, and it strengthened me for every little thing that's
Yeah.
was to come during my adult life, and now the age and stage I'm at, it's like like anytime I go through anything, I'm like, man, I've been through way
Right.
worse. You know
That's
what I'm
crazy
saying?
that you
Like,
say that because, like, I be saying the same thing. I'm like, damn, like, my story is actually, like, pretty lit. Now,
yeah,
when I tell people some of the shit I've been through when I was a kid, they be
yeah,
like, what the hell?
yeah,
Like,
same though.
but it's like, damn, like, that shit really built me up. And
Right.
it's like, now, the stuff I go through, it's like, that's light work.
Yeah,
And it's like, it made me be this person that I like to be. Like, I'm not, like, super materialistic. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I like nice stuff. But, like, I'm not out here trying to, like, get all the Birkins and stuff
no,
like
I
that.
hear
Like,
you.
like I really am happy that, maybe I didn't have stuff when I was a kid because that actually helped me find meaning in things that are really like
Yes,
important
yes.
and it's not just like so superficial. And at the time I didn't understand it. I'm like, I want these Nikes or I
Yo,
want this.
same though, and it's like it's like you said in the freestyle. Like I literally said that. Like I said, just to get fly, I had to try my best. Like, and I
Right.
really would try my best because you know how, especially when you're a kid, man. Kids are mean. They say
Yes.
certain stuff, and it's like I remember one time, right? I my I don't know why it happened like this. At least from my memory, I got in trouble at school, and my uncle took me to get some sneakers. And I had got the pair of T Max, Tracy McGrady's. And I came to school with them joints, and they were blue and white.
Mhm.
I'm talking about, I got a picture when we went upstate to see my dad, and I got like a white shirt, green pants, blue and white T Mac. I would wear these shoes every day because back in the day, T Mac was the bull. Like, you feel me?
Mhm.
And to me, just the feeling that gave me, the confidence that gave me,
Mhm.
bruh, it's like, it was an amazing feeling. But now that I'm older and just not being able to get most of the things I wanted any other time in life outside of that
Yeah.
moment, it's like, yeah, I'm not big on like materialistic things, but at the same time, like I feel like everybody deserves nice things and
Yeah.
to get nice things, but it was something else I wanted to say too. It was like it had to do with the freestyle, but we'll get back to it
Okay.
for sure. It was something else in there though.
And I feel like stuff like that, I feel like it helps it probably like build our work ethic. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like now we knew we had to work for shit
Yes.
to get shit, and I feel like that's a good quality to have. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I feel like there's so many things. I always say this almost on like every podcast, but like everything is really always working out for us. Like
Yes.
even us going through shit as like little kids, it's like
Mm-hmm.
we didn't see it at the time. Like damn, like why we don't have no money? But it's like
Yeah.
it just worked out.
I've
You know
heard
what
you
I
say
mean?
that too, and I'll be feeling that when you be saying it because it's true.
Yeah, like if things are always working out for
I
us, like
literally do not stress or worry about anything. Like
yeah,
I know people like, oh, you lying. No, like I literally don't stress and worry about, and I might in a moment, like
yeah,
until somebody check me. Sometimes, like, yo, why you?
right,
But for the most part, I try not to stress or worry about anything because I literally have faith that it's going to work out,
mm-hmm.
especially because of what I went through during my upbringing. It's like
Yeah,
I don't feel like I should even be sitting on this couch right now. Like just if I'd have let my past make me who I am,
right,
you know what
yeah,
I mean? So, and what I was going to say now that I'm thinking about is like when I released that freestyle, like that joint is definitely deep. It's definitely like touching. It's definitely the reaction I got from people is different than anything I've ever released.
mm-hmm.
In the last 10 whatever year plus year I've been releasing music. And the part that stood with me the most was two parts. Is people that grew up with me in the comments saying like, "Yo, I watched you go through that,
Mm,
bruh," and like saluting me like all the way, like, bruh, like you went through, like I watched you go through that, and I
yeah,
see where you're at today. I'm proud of you, whatever the
yeah,
compliments was, and then also like literally like my siblings commenting on it, and
oh
like
yeah,
really like damn, like that's crazy.
yeah,
Like, my brother, I don't know if he just caught it, but he just commented on it like 3-4 days ago. He was like, yo, this made me cry, bro. Like,
yeah,
and I'm like, he was the last one that I know that didn't comment. And it's like,
yeah,
you finally seen it. And it's like, cause it's deep, you know what I'm
yeah,
saying? And it's like, it's not something that it's easy to do. And I've been trying to follow up with more content and another freestyle,
mm-hmm.
but it's so hard because that's
Yeah,
how much that one freestyle meant to me.
yeah,
And like I said, the reaction I got, et cetera, et cetera, it's like I don't want to sway away from that because I kind of felt like through all these years of making music, I found like what my niche is when it comes to the type of music people want to hear from me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, I've definitely been in the studio though, working on like a whole new project, just kind of trying to update everything with my current mindset, my current lifestyle, my current, mentality. But yeah, this is crazy that that you seen the freestyle, you enjoyed it, you liked it, and you also
Yeah.
can relate to it a lot because it was deep.
I really enjoyed it, and I could really relate. And it's crazy that like you said that's like the first time you ever put something like that out. I feel like it's so decent that you were able to be vulnerable and like tell your business.
Right.
That I went to this mental wealth conference yesterday, and they said you're only as sick as the secrets like you keep, like the things that you keep inside of you. So it's like when we're putting those things out there, being vulnerable, sometimes it's embarrassing.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like sometimes it's a lot to say things,
Mm-hmm.
but it really heals you, and then you're really touching people. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, damn, I went through that too. Like, I could relate, or I see like he got over that. Now I know I can get over
Right,
it. You know what
right,
I mean? We don't understand the power of just being honest with what we've been through, and that's why I say the things I say, or decided to do the podcast because God has put us through these things for a reason. Maybe it was to help somebody. You know what I mean?
for sure.
Maybe for somebody to hear our story and like just get a different point of view.
Right.
So the fact that you were able to like put that out there, I feel like that's really
And
important.
I feel like I'm always vulnerable with my music, like always, right? And maybe I should say it this way. I've told that story a million times,
Oh,
but
really?
it takes for that one little thing for people to catch on to it. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's like, but I've never told it in that way either.
Okay,
You get what
yeah,
I'm saying?
yeah.
No, but I'm saying like probably every line in there I've done said before, not per se, but I've told that type of story before throughout my music because I like making real music. You know what I mean? And but yeah, it's like it never caught any other way.
And maybe
it
like the
did then.
people who were listening to it just weren't in a mindset yet to grasp it. You know what I mean? And I feel like also our culture and how we grow up, it's like everybody's so like money, cars, clothes, hoes. You know what I mean? So it's like sometimes people just want to stay in that lane. They just feel like, oh, like that's not really cool to talk about
Right.
that type of stuff or whatever. You know what I mean? Even though some of the realest music is not talking about all that stuff,
Of
but
course, yeah.
people just want to go with what everybody else is doing a lot of
For
the
sure.
time. So maybe that might just be why.
I never looked at it that way, and that's definitely a good perspective. And as an artist, it is a full time battle to like just want to continue to tell my story or just submit to what the masses want. You know what I
Right,
mean?
yeah.
Like, like I always tell people, like Future, he's one of my favorite artists. And when I listen to him, bro, I become toxic. I'm the player of all players. You know what I'm saying? And just whatever. Even just you even think like, yeah, I'm about to go out. I'm going to drink. I'm going to get up tonight. You know what I
Right.
mean? But it's like I say that to say like I also like J. Cole, like you know what I mean, or Kendrick Lamar. It's like those are my favorite artists too, and it's like it's a full time battle. It's like what side of the field you gonna really choose when I'm sitting down and I'm writing my music.
Yeah.
But ultimately, I just continue to just try to be myself.
Yeah,
what I
that's
mean?
what you
Just be
can do.
the only Simmy. You feel me? But it's a full time battle. Though,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
And it's crazy that you said like how you feel when you listen to Future. That's one thing I say a lot is the things that we consume really affect us. Like the music, what we eat, everything. Like me personally, I'm like a big music lover, but in the morning I started being more intentional about what I listen to. Like I always listen to like the same 4 or 5 songs.
Okay.
But I don't. It's because like now, like I can't start my morning off with like Summer Walker and them. They talk about like mayonnaise shit, and I'm heartbroken. And now I'm about to call up whoever, and
Yeah.
I'm like, you know what, you ain't shit. And you know what I mean? Like these things they're programmed in our
do
mind,
that.
and it's like, it really affects us. We don't even understand the type of like impact it has on us, like the stuff we watch, everything. Like it really impacts us.
I
So
do, and I have a big understanding of it. And so even in the beginning when I was just saying like with my faith, is that's it. when I wake up in the morning, I've already was saying like, all right, no rap before 12, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then it's like I always thought like Christian rap was mad cheesy. Like
Yeah.
I was like, no, like anytime growing up, I'm like, that's corny. Like I don't really
Right.
like that. But yo, I found some artists recently that have
They're
changed my
yes, they're
perspective.
changing the
They
game.
changing the game. Like to me, they're
Yes.
just as good as any mainstream rapper,
Mm-hmm.
but they're talking about God. So now what I try to do, especially when I got the kids in the car taking them to school, it's like I'm gonna put that on
Mm-hmm.
before even the R&B or any of that. Cause it's like I'm
Yeah.
not trying to even think about love, sex, or none of
Right.
that. I'm trying
Yeah.
to think about God. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so yeah, just to hit on that, like, yeah, that's my whole thing kinda. Like I try to change up the playlist. And I get like a guilty pleasure though, Back to Future. Listening to Future though, when 12 o'clock hit. You get what I'm saying? Or when
What
the
that
rest of the
feature
day hit,
on?
I get a guilty pleasure, bro. Like it's crazy,
Right.
man. You know what I mean?
But that also
But
shows like we really just human.
for
You know
sure.
what I mean? Like I feel like we all trying to be our best selves,
Hmm.
and we're on our self development journeys, our healing journeys. But it's like just understanding like you are a person, and just giving ourselves that grace because we're not always going to be able to just be these perfect people. We all like what we like, but it's just like understanding that and then finding that balance. You know what I mean? Like you said, well, no rap before 12, but
Yeah.
after 12,
It's
listen, we
like
turn
free
it
for
up.
all, right? I can send
Where the
free
hoes
now.
at? But yeah, no, that's important. I think, and you're teaching your children. Like this is what not what you should be listening to, but you're just kind of setting the tone for them.
Right.
Like they'll be more accepting
Yeah.
to listen to things that are like good for them.
I agree to that, and but it's just like it's funny, right? So growing up, my mom, all she ever listened to was gospel music,
Mm.
like nothing else. My mom has never put me onto an R&B song, a rap song, and I hate it. Like you get what I'm saying? Like I hated it. I'm like, dang. Like
Yeah.
my dad and my uncles and other family members probably introduced me to rap and stuff
Mhm.
like that. But like, it's just funny that you say that because it's like, but now that I'm getting to that point in
Mhm.
life, it's like, dang, I really do appreciate my mom
Yeah.
showing me that though. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
cause yeah, she was trying to at least keep it
Right.
clean.
It's funny because sometimes like I be thinking about that. Like my dad, he used to listen to like a lot of oldies or like instruments and
Hmm.
stuff. I'm like, what the hell is this?
Right.
But now I'm like, yes, like he was listening to that work. Like,
Right.
okay, I appreciate that. And like when we kids, we can't really appreciate certain things. But
We don't even understand it. You know what I mean?
yeah, and it's like, at the time you're like, damn, I hate this gospel music. But like now, maybe that was just something that stuck in the back of your mind and now you listening to it. So
Exactly. I ain't
yeah.
fully gospeled out yet, but it's certain songs that catch me. And I'm like, yeah, I love
Right.
this song.
Now
I
if
knew this
Future
song for
make a
life.
gospel album, it's a wrap.
Yeah, it is, man. It's perfect matrimony right there. Bro.
So what are some ways that you try to like develop like your I would say like new life. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like what are some things that you do to just like switch the narrative and make sure like you're not living like the same life you did when you were younger?
So one of the biggest things back in like 2022 was like just going to therapy.
Mhm.
And to me, I always tell my friends, I'm like, yeah, I'm paying to play. Like, what you mean by that? I'm like, yeah, 'cause you got to pay for this therapy. So, but it was helping me play the game of life a little bit better. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So that was like one of the first things, and it just that got me to accept things. That got me to understand that like I might like that I have PTSD from my childhood. That I just have just certain things about me that I needed to work on. So, but leading all the way up to today, it's really a big thing. It's like routine.
Mhm.
I've been trying to like just read more books. Um, really be mindful of like the people or the company I keep. Um, the people I have around me, the people that I'm even might even be taking advice from, or even
Mhm.
just what they say, like talking to people for no reason. You know what I mean? It
Right,
could be
yeah.
a good or a bad thing. You know what I mean? So just trying to be. I guess the word to say is just being intentional with things
Mhm.
that I'm doing, because there was a lot of times in life where I just wasn't intentional, and it led me down different paths and stuff. But I would say like my routine is important for me right now because it definitely keeps me grounded. And there's just so many things when you're just consistent with doing the same things each and every day. And everybody go through. Of course, we all go through stuff. You know what I mean? Different friendships, relationships, et cetera, et cetera. But being able to like find you and what works for you and what makes you happy
Yeah.
is definitely like just the journey that I just been on. You know what I mean? And I even learned like recently like I don't even set like enough boundaries for myself. So it's just like just setting boundaries.
Yeah,
Just
that's
stuff
a
like
big
that. Just
one.
working on it. You know what I mean? Like um, trying to prepare myself for different triggers that can happen in life. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? And send me down certain paths or just show certain colors. You know what I mean? So I just been really just been digging in, honestly, just
Yeah.
digging in deep, just trying to understand me and what works for me. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
I think it's dope that you're doing the work. I feel like men, period, shy away from doing the work because maybe y'all feel like y'all should already have the answers or y'all don't want to feel vulnerable or, there's a bunch of reasons why men might not do the work or go to therapy. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that's pretty dope that.
I also feel like it's a big thing where it's just like men. It's a lot of required of us. It's a lot
Yeah.
expected of us, and I feel like I went years and years and years of getting the same results. That really weren't good results of just different stuff, and it's like you whether if it's hearing the same thing over and over again, learning the same lesson. You're not even learning the lesson. You just keep getting the same lesson. You're not passing the test. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
Over and
yeah.
over again. Not really being where I wanted to be, or starting projects and not finishing them. And one day, like I said, I just woke up. You know what I'm saying? And I just was like, man, I gotta really put my best foot forward. It was crazy. Like even when I started therapy at the time, right? The lady told me, she was like, a lot of stuff that I tell people, like, you're telling me already. You know what I mean? And I was like, damn, that's what's up. Like, at least I know that I'm really, putting thought into the stuff that
Yeah.
I'm talking about and what I'm doing. You know what I mean? But, um, yeah, man, I just try. I try, I feel like it's also, like I said, the people around me, like, everybody's, I feel like in my life is doing the work. You know what I mean? And if they're not, we encouraging each other, holding each other accountable to do the work. You feel me? But, I know that there's a lot just going on with like the youth nowadays, and even when we talk about the music, like people listening to drill music, or
Mm-hmm.
it's a lot of influence, social media influences,
Yeah.
stuff like that. I try to just keep my own mindset through it all, and it's like I feel like when God presents me the opportunity to be able to help other people in those ways, I'm gonna be prepared for it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But I ain't perfect. I'm still building myself up, still healing, still doing the work. It's a day to day thing. It ain't
It
no,
is.
you can't even put a finish line on it.
You can't because like sometimes you might think like, all right, yeah, I'm healed. Like we were talking about that last week.
Right.
Um, and then like the triggers come up. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Old triggers, new triggers. But then it's
And
like now this is the test. Like so, what do we do now? And sometimes we might not remember what we learned, or we might remember what we learned, but we just can't apply it right now.
for
So
sure.
just giving ourselves that grace and just understanding like it's always like I always say like healing is a forever journey and doing the work is a forever journey. We're always students. We're always gonna be learning new things.
Yeah,
So yeah, for sure.
I agree.
So what like what made you go to therapy? Like was there something that you was just like, all right, I gotta go?
Um, it was. I would say it's personal,
Okay.
but it was also like how do I put it? Like something where it was just like bro, like what the like what's going on? Like there's something that you're not talking about, or something you're not getting out, something that you're not. Um, I would just say like getting the help for. You know what I'm saying? And like yo, going through years and years of like just like I guess being in denial of certain things. It's like um, let's just say for instance, right, quick life story of Sippy, right? I know, people know this story that know me, but it's like yo, you go from getting taken from your family, your mom, not even your family, your mom. You separated from your siblings. They put you in the system. You get out. They literally tell you stuff like you're supposed to die or go to jail. You get
Yeah.
out. You really have no support in this world. You don't have nothing. And all I really had was my music. And I remember being locked in the studio. I was locked in the studio for 10 years of my life, literally. And with that came certain a certain lifestyle. I guess I'd say certain lifestyle. Even in the beginning, when I first like had my kid, like I wasn't the best dad. I wasn't. I didn't even put being a dad first. It's like no, I'm still being in the studio. I'm still locked in. You feel
Right.
me? And it's like when you just keep going through, the same cycle of stuff every single year or every, even every day. It starts with your day to day stuff. Something just made me wake up one day, and it's just like, bro, like this is not the life I want for myself. But I also have created a life for myself that I'm not even able to like maintain, and it
Mm-hmm.
also had a lot to do with ego, a lot to do with just having pride. And it's like I just got to a point, man, where I just wanted to be, how do you put it, like a regular person. Like I just
Mm-hmm.
wanted to be normal in a way. Like,
Yeah.
and with that being said, it's like, I love being, an artist, a rapper. You know what I mean? But like the fact that like I had created a life for myself that's pretty much all people knew me as and saluted me as, it's like no, like I want to be saluted as a man, as a father, as a
Yeah.
friend.
Like there's more to you than just that.
Exactly. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? So I just wanted to like just change the leaf and just start to lead just a better life for myself. And I feel like slowly but surely it's all coming together. You
Yeah,
know what
for
I'm saying?
sure.
So
One thing
yeah.
I always say is like it's never too late to switch the narrative. You know
Right.
what I mean? Like just because we did something a certain way doesn't mean that we can't, switch it
For
up or
sure.
do something different. And I feel like people get scared because it's when it's like the unknown. You ain't never do this before, so
Mm-hmm.
it's like when you were, you still do music, but when you were starting to build a new life for yourself, you probably was like, I'm not really sure, or like where will this lead me?
Right.
It's so many questions that we have because it's like we don't know where this is going to lead us. But if we don't ever take that chance, you know what I mean? Obviously, sometimes we do things for so long, it's not working for us. So we
Right.
gotta figure something else out. We gotta take a risk. We gotta
Right.
figure out something that's gonna, put us in a direction that we want to be in.
Right.
So just know like it's never too late to like switch the narrative up.
Right.
And I feel like people really need to understand that, especially like older people. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like I'm in my 30s and it's like I see people in their 40s, 50s, you know what I mean? Even then, you can
Yeah.
decide one day to wake up. You might be unhealthy, you might do whatever, but you can decide like, all right, I'm going to start working out, or I'm going to start reading, or I'm going to start talking to God. I'm going to start taking care of myself, you know what I mean? And you might have a whole better life, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like it's just never too late. So,
I'm a firm believer of that, and it's definitely the best way to put it. Just trying to change the narrative,
mhm.
and yeah, a lot of people are stuck in their ways, old, young.
Mhm.
You develop the habits young, you carry them into your old, and then you die the same way.
Right.
And it's all love. You feel me? But it's nothing. It's nothing better or more rewarding than just like I said, just trying a new thing. And yeah, I've seen whatever I measure success was with my music. I've seen that. But like trying to see the success in a whole nother way now, I'm
Mhm.
feeling that, and it feels way better. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like it's a better reward for it. So
Yeah.
for
And
sure.
it, probably took you that time to lock in with your music and
Hmm.
see like, okay, like I see what that's about.
Right.
Now I want to see like what this is about.
For
So,
sure. I
yeah.
feel like just being young. When I was young, man, I knew I had the talent. I knew I had the drive. I knew I had the hunger. And you just think like you're just gonna be famous overnight.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like like that was like my whole thing to life in my early 20s and stuff. Just like yeah, I'm gonna blow up tomorrow. And this is before viral was even viral or before it was a thing.
Right,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like I thought I was gonna be that. You know what I mean? A long time ago, and it's like no, like when you really having to put the work in, it's not. Anybody can relate. Like if you're working at anything, don't gotta just be music. Like anything you're working at, when you put the work in, you're going to get the success out of it eventually. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But at the same time, like that wasn't. It became like a thing that I won't say I put on the back burner because I do truly feel like that's my purpose in this world
Mhm.
to make music, write music. But I also feel like there was just a bunch of things that I needed to work on and clean up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Like you said, we said earlier, consistency.
Right.
I feel like that's so important. Like even like sometimes we might not be good at something. Just being consistent, building that skill,
Right.
networking, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like finding what is for you and just staying with it because you're not, I always say like all the pros started out as like rookies.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like we started out somewhere, so you know, if it is something that is your purpose, or we can't just give up. Especially like when we see some people that I use as an example, like social media, like influencers and stuff. The ones that like make the millions now, like we've seen them probably just making like videos on their phone
For
or stuff
sure.
like that, and they just stuck with it, and
Yes.
then you know now they like millionaires and stuff like that. So it's just like just staying consistent with what we want to do. I feel like God puts these purposes in our hearts for a reason. You know what I mean? And it's like the money is not always going to be there.
Right.
And sometimes that makes it hard because it's
I
like,
know.
damn, like, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I know God's telling me to do this, but how I'm going to make money from it, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, God going to figure that out.
For sure.
You know what I mean? So it's like that consistency. We got to just like keep going.
Yeah. I mean, I went from trying to pay for studio sessions to owning my own recording studio to then, you know, getting some cash flow in to then now like, damn, this is just a luxury. Like I gotta pay for this luxury. And it's like tapping out of that, but you hit it right on the head. Like, you know, God gives us our talents and our purpose for a reason. And I also am a true believer, like he'll give you everything that you need to, you know, to feed that dream to.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's pretty much, you know, just coming back full circle, everything we talking about. And that's why I'm on the type time I'm on, because I'm just trying to just get all the ingredients to everything. The consistency is the most important ingredient for anything you're doing. You know what I mean? Because man, you could be real stagnant. You know.
Do you feel like at first when you started to kind of like switch into, I guess I'll call it like your new life, was it hard for you? Like, because you said like, you know, sometimes it'd be like ego and stuff like that.
It's very hard because it's like, I would say this, right? Like, when I was like putting out music at a certain point, like I was going hard. Every week it's a new something, song, video, whatever. I'm just going hard. And so it's people to this day that I'll run into, and people's favorite question is, yo, you still rap? What? And then, but it's like everybody don't see what you do on social media either, though. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or they don't see other work that you putting in. So it's just like a funny question. I'm like, yeah, I still rap. And then you got to get to explaining what you're doing.
Right.
To answer the question, though, now I feel like I get that a lot more frequently now, because I'm not like 1,000% locked in the same aspect that I was locked in. That don't mean I'm not locked in, because I'm always working, always creating, always working on my talent behind the scenes. I just don't have the need to prematurely like put stuff out, or you know, projects, announcing them that I might not finish or not even you know, kind of. It's like, no, like really mapping stuff out. But it's definitely different. It's definitely hard, because there's still people that expect certain stuff from me. There's really people in this world that I could say that are fans of what I do, of my music, and believe in me, and they want to see me, you know, prosper, and they know that I could prosper. But you know, it's not going to be the way that they want it. It's the way that I want it, and I feel all the way, you know, in my heart and soul that
and like
possible.
It's not like
happen.
you trying to prove a point to them.
Right.
It's like, this is for me. Like this is intentional for me.
I feel like, yo, I spent mad years of my life trying to prove points, or what's the better way to say it? Like, just be accepted. You know what I'm saying? I feel like I even took desperate measures to be accepted. You know what I'm saying? But just not on that no more.
And I feel like when we come up from like the type of childhoods that we came up from, you want that. No. You want to feel loved. You want to feel accepted.
Exactly.
Yep.
That's like, where it all came from.
And then it's like, I always go, it's so many things always tie into the same thing, but I just always go back to like the whole self-love thing. Yeah. You know, when you really truly find self-love, it's like you are okay with like really who you are, and it's like you don't need to be like for the people. Like, you don't need to keep putting this out because this is what people like. You know, you're putting this out because this is what you want to put out, and this is what you feel. You don't feel the need to, you know, try to like prove something to everybody. Like, one thing I could say, and you're an artist, so you might like understand this. When I first started doing a podcast or anything like I ever tried to do, I would want like support from like town.
All right, of course.
But then like I started to just do what I was doing, and then I started like networking and stuff. And like now the people who really like I have connected with, or who come to my events, or watch my stuff. None of those people are from town. I don't even look to really share with town. You know what I mean? And it's not even like nothing against town. Like I love my town and I love, the people in it, and it's nothing like that. But it's just I wanted like to be accepted at first,
Yes.
but then it's like now it's like no, like your tribe is gonna find you.
For sure. Yo, I'm glad you said that because I'm a firm believer in that as well. And yo, I've went through that too. You get what I'm saying? So yes, I do relate because I remember just posting music up and you want your whole town to support you because you see an artist from somewhere else. They got their whole city behind them.
Right?
And,
Yeah.
it wasn't until I moved to Reading, PA, from Pottstown, where I felt as though that people in Pottstown and Norristown started to support me. But I also feel like they seen me go to a place that was foreign to me and to them,
Right.
and get the love that I got just because I just went there and I was being myself. You get what I'm saying? And it's like, you know, and it's a good thing once you are able to get past that part of support me, support me, support me, support me. Because unfortunately, I see people start things and they be kind of stuck in that phase.
Yeah, or they want to like give up because they don't see that support.
Or they want to give up. Right. And it's like, you can't never focus on that. You gotta stay 10 toes down with what you're trying to do. And people are gonna support it, bro.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
And if it's authentic to you, you know what I mean. Like people gonna support it
For sure.
It's like your tribe is gonna find you. Like I feel like that's one of the best pieces of advice because it was like a point where it's like I wouldn't even like post certain stuff on Facebook because I would feel like maybe I'm getting like judged or like. Right. They might be like,
there's always a different crowd on Facebook.
Yeah, like they like this girl don't know what the hell she talking about or something. Like
your granny sister on there.
Right. They're like, oh, this the family member that's where she healed. Or
Right.
That. But but now I feel like so confident to just share my shit anywhere because I'm just like, the people who like it, they gonna watch it, and the people who don't, oh well, like you know what I mean.
And they still gonna watch it. They just might not interact with it, but eventually you're gonna put something out that's gonna make people
but it's like it's just I don't feel like bothered now, and I feel like that's a good space to be in where it's like if y'all don't watch it, like I'm okay. I know the message it's gonna hit somebody.
I feel like you create way more freely when you get to that part.
For sure.
I feel like there's a lot of people. There's it's half and half. There's people that's gotten to that stage, and there's people that's still probably trying to figure that out. And I just would encourage them to just get behind the ball, man, and just keep doing what you're doing. Tunnel vision. People gonna support it, man.
Yeah, definitely gotta stay on your path. Cause like I feel like we can get swayed. I personally like I've started a lot of projects, businesses and stuff, and then I just kind of like let it go because maybe that wasn't even my purpose, but I just seen like other people having businesses, or I just thought I had to get on this wave, or just trying to be accepted. But now it's like, no, like I'm good.
That's good, man.
Yeah, it really.
Definitely, like I said, kind of off camera, like I see your stuff everywhere. I click on Instagram, I literally see you. YouTube, maybe I'm not on Facebook as much, but even Facebook, like I see your stuff, so I know you're being consistent, and you definitely putting your stuff out there, and it's like I just want to give you flowers for that because you are probably one of the most consistent people I follow.
Oh, nice. Thank you. Sure. I really appreciate that. It's crazy because, like, I remember at one point I was, like, telling myself, like, I need to stay consistent. Like, I would be like, oh, I want to do this podcast. But I would just, like, play around, not really, like, follow through with it. Right. And then it was, like, one day I just, like, kept doing it. And then, like, the more I'm learning about it, the more I'm like, all right, I just gotta like keep going. It's like it might not always look like super professional, but it's like you just gotta just do it.
I think what it is though, it's just real. Like it look like you be sitting in your car with your scrubs on sometimes, and you just telling people what it is. Like, but there's a consistent thing that I know that I'm going to see from people like you.
Right.
That's what I want to see on my timeline. I don't want to see a bunch of that other stuff. So I just I salute it, man, because you're being consistent and you're actually saying something that is worth something. To people. So,
well, thank you. I really appreciate that.
For sure.
Yeah, I feel like what made me kind of like want to start the whole thing is like I was in a space before where I needed somebody to give me that advice. I was looking for a podcast to listen to. I was trying to get my mind right. You know
Right.
what I mean? I
For
needed
sure.
that advice. I needed somebody to tell me, like, all right, like everything's gonna be okay, or you just gotta take a step, or whatever it was. So now that I know the information, or I'm
Mhm.
learning the information, it's like, why not give it to people? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
And that's dope, man. That's like the easiest content to create. You get what
it
I'm saying?
is,
I ain't saying it's easy,
yeah.
but it's like when it's just real life stuff, or you trying to be something or be something for someone that you didn't have for yourself. That was like the easiest way to kind of do things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And yo, you motivate me want to be more consistent.
Oh,
To be
that's.
honest, you know what I mean? Like it's like because I know what consistency gets you. Like I
Mm-hmm.
literally do. So yeah, you definitely
Yeah.
motivate me
Well, that's good. That
for
makes me
sure.
happy. See,
For sure.
I feel like things like that really like it like gives me like confirmation. Like, yeah, Jazz, like
You're
keep
doing the
going.
right thing.
You're doing the
You're doing the
right
right
thing,
thing.
right?
For sure.
For sure. So, like, is there any like advice or anything like you would give to like people who don't feel fine on the inside or that are struggling?
Yeah, for sure. So I feel like, all right, like it's a bunch of things we talked about, and it's like there's a lot of different paths that you could take. But one thing that you got to do is figure out what are you even not fine about. Like, don't be in denial. So you got to figure out what it is, so you're not in denial. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because if you're not, if what they say, if you don't know, if you can't admit that you have a problem, then you can't correct it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And unfortunately, I know a bunch of people that they kind of can't identify what the problem is that they have. So just being able to identify that, then looking to see what you're going to do to fix that or work towards that or do the work, whatever, in that aspect. Therapy is always a good thing,
Mm-hmm.
but some people really don't want to do that. So if you want
Yeah.
to do stuff on your own, another thing we talked about, self love, like just loving yourself, but also figuring out what that is to you.
Yeah.
I feel like loving yourself, everybody just says that, but people don't really know like what it is to love yourself. Like, because
Yeah.
everybody doesn't love themselves the same way. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, some people might, never have time, and you just giving yourself time to for yourself is loving
Yeah.
yourself. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Or so you got to figure out what that is for you. Um, and I would just say, there's a lot more I could say actually, but the final thing I would just say is just like it's just really being intentional on just working at something, whether if it's day by day, week by week, month by month, and eventually you want to see like what the results are, because it's easy to stay stuck in your ways. It's easy to continue to do the same things that you've been doing. Some days, I have my days where it's like, man, I'm not even picking up my planner. I'm not writing in my note. I'm not reading this book, and I'm
Right.
not even telling myself I'm not doing that. I'm just not with it.
Right.
You get what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So it happens, but it's kind of like when you never even set yourself up to even be intentional with certain things, you know, you're really just going to continue to do the same thing each and every day. So I feel like, you just got to tap in, man. Tap into yourself. Figure out what it is that you can do to be fine on the inside. You know what I mean?
Period.
Because it's easy to be fine on the outside. It's real easy. You could pay to be fine on the outside.
Right.
You know what I mean? You could do a bunch of things, but being fine on the inside is definitely way more important than being fine on the outside. So I would just hope that people will strive for that
Yeah.
for sure.
Well, thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you so much for coming on to
Yo,
the
thank you for
podcast.
having me.
I feel like this was
I'm
so
excited.
good.
For sure.
Guys, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Make sure you guys follow Mack Simmy on all social media platforms.
Yes.
Make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe. Hit that subscribe button, y'all.
Yes.
And we will see y'all next week. Thank you guys so much for tuning in.